what do you think? Are leader skills, are they born or they can be made? It's actually interesting. Of course, you've heard about many courses of self-development, about famous coaches, about some programs where you can develop the skills of your eloquence and charisma. But it hasn't been the case. For many centuries, since ancient Greeks and Romans, the skills hasn't been considered as developed. They've been considered as born in inner skills. But over the centuries, everything has changed. And now scholars, they proved that the skills can be shaped and developed. And if they can be developed, they should be developed, especially in future teachers. And how are leadership skills and systemic thinking related? Here you can see Russian Minister of Economic Development and Finance, Mr. Gref. And Mr. Herman Gref, he gave a really eloquent speech and gave brilliant example of systematic thinking in his recent lecture in a business school. And he explained it like synthesis analyzes all the time. It means that you all the time getting into details and getting out of these details in time. Sounds like superpower. It sounds like only personalities, individuals like businessmen, ministers, presidents can possess it. And of course, it's great to have systemic thinking. It's like to be healthy, not sick, to be rich, not poor. But if we look from the other hand, from the other extreme, we can see that these skills is rather important in any field, from business to teaching, and how to create your business without analysis and synthesis or systemic thinking. Let's look at some common leadership skills. All of you know, it's like top of the list. It's not all, of course. Okay, a leader should be purposeful. They should know how to reach the goal. They should have motivational skills to make their peers, to make their employees to work hard, to be ready to work good and to be successful too. Of course, they should be self-confident and responsible not only for themselves, but responsible for the whole company and the whole community. They should be determined and competent in their job, even not in common daily duties, but competence in particular processes, particular technological features, and deep knowledge of their job. They should have analytical skills, self-discipline, be communicative, and of course, to have a desire to constantly developing. Let's talk a bit about leadership science. According to Peter Senge, young professionals should develop their leadership skills not only in order to manage their work, not only to be a good member of teamwork, no, but to self-development. And according to Fred Fiedler idea and his theory, leaders and non-leaders, they both depend on leadership skills. Of course, leadership skills of leaders that can make from any any community, healthy community. Without leaders, there will no success, and non-leaders can suffer from it. And it's really important for young professionals. But my topic is about teachers. You don't forget? Okay. So what about teachers? But teachers, they have different skills. Well, it's probably, the top of the list. And not all skills that teachers should possess. But let's look attentively. All the skills they have something in common, don't they? Aha, you see. I hope you see. They have humanitarian orientation. That's everything about sensitivity, about empathy, about emotional support. And these skills are really important for teachers. And of course, they can be born or they can be developed. And they should be developed from the first year of academic study in college or high school or whatever. Future teachers should possess the skills. And really, sometimes it's difficult to differentiate the skills in teacher practice. That's why we come to idea that we need a special, that the skills, they sometimes implemented, they sometimes more implicit in some situation, and we distinguish four components for these skills: organizational, constructive, gnostic, and communicative component. And sometimes when a teacher has some challenges, I think they can differentiate the situation and try to choose the skill that is needed to overcome difficulties and face it successfully. Let's talk about Teachers Leadership Development Program. This program has been implemented in Cambridge University. Then it's been spread in Harvard University practice, and then it's appeared around the globe. I cannot tell you that exactly the same name it has, but the idea probably is the same, that young teachers, they are taught to be future leaders and masters of their teaching practice, and they are responsible for their skills and for their development. Let me explain you. This is called academic imperialism. That means that the idea actually belonged to John Eliot, and he created a concept about academic imperialism that shortly it explains that it's up to teachers to be responsible for academic success of their students. They should be responsible for new technologies. And it's up to teachers, but not up to administrative staff. I'm talking about principals or directors. No, it's up to teachers. And young teachers, they should know that they are leaders of their activity in a classroom. They are leaders of their activity in school society. They are leaders of their collaboration with students and collaboration with their parents and representatives. And well, this academic imperialism is rather important for Russian education. I will tell you the story. Well, the paradigm of democracy been implemented 30 years ago. And after that, all citizens, they had to be responsible for their lives, for their success, and for the whole community. But before that difficult time, government had to be responsible for their life, for their well-being. And then it happened that to change, to make benefit, to lead healthy community, people, they had to be responsible for everything. And for young teachers, not teachers, for even students of technological specialties, it was a stumble block to become a leaders of their lives. But now situation and time has changed, and we have lots of leaders, but I still think that we have a shadow of previous years, and some students, unfortunately, irresponsible, and unfortunately, some future teachers, they don't feel that they are responsible for their future, I can tell you career, but for their future development, even from the first day of their study at college or university. And here are here is a system of actions that can be taken by future teachers in order to develop some skills. And let's talk about types of activities that's necessary for any teacher that wants to enhance their leadership skills. First activity designed to engage others in collaboration, reflection, and self-evaluation. Others, that means everyone. I'm talking about mostly about peers and school administration and more experienced teachers. For some young teachers, I know that it's a stumble block to communicate to experienced teachers because they can judge them because they are still students. They feel like they're students. They try to do their first steps in education. And sometimes it's a real fear to be determined in what you are doing in your practices, in your knowledge, because the young teachers, they don't have such experience. And second types are activities that help to redefine teaching. Actually, it's discussion with colleagues, reading a report posted online, reports of students, maybe I'm talking about feedbacks, gathering students' opinion about their experience, and visiting classrooms to observe or plan lesson with colleagues. And there is a good practice. It's to collaborate with peers. I mean, a group of students, they have practice at school and they visiting each other classes and they discuss them without any tutors or leading teacher. They discuss them. They can be creative. They can be a bit crazy, whatever, but they should feel freedom to make something different, to spread some extraordinary ideas that had never been sounded and had never been in the air. And of course, there are some stumble blocks and challenges that will appear. I can tell you my story. After graduation university, I spent 3 years as a young teacher in a comprehensive school. I had a lot of ideas in my mind, but actually I was never allowed to take part in any collaboration with more experienced teachers. I felt like I'm still a pupil, and for me it was easier to collaborate with my school students than to more experienced teachers. And unfortunately, I was not heard. I was not sounded. I ruined my first steps. And I know that in some traditional schools, it's not common practice to discuss some challenges with young teachers, to listen to young teachers, to listen to their ideas and take them into account. But I believe if young teachers, they start their career, they should and even must to be capable not to be afraid, but to overcome their fears and to break this wall of ignorance, to break this wall of traditional methods, because there is no progress. And I believe that future teachers, they are ready to spread their ideas. They're ready to fight their ideas, okay, but reasonably, not just fight for everything good, but to break the wall and not to build anything. No, but you should be sounded, you should be heard, and you must be listened to. Well, here I can see the example of systemic thinking leadership development steps. It's approbation of new technologies, evaluation of these technologies in real practice, reflection after practice performed, and analytical work that must be done after effective implementation. And the previous steps, they can be found in more easy things, because it's kind of the same. You should plan what you're going to do. The young teacher should teach something new, implement some new technologies, then analyze them, and then generalize. And then last step, to put it into future practice, to create something new, like new technology or strategy. And please see, there are some 7 steps of success. And for me, the most important is peer consultation. I've told before that in collaboration with young teachers, future teachers can find some support. They can be open-minded. They can spread all ideas they have inside of them, and this is real good thing. And well, you can read all the next steps. Well, they're also very important. Okay, let's move forward. You can see some pedagogical condition of leadership development for teachers. And it's up to professors to know about them. And as for me, I would like to point out it's for me, I think it's mostly crucial point. It's participation of students in projects and social activities. And here I would like to make a step forward and tell you that it's not in a teaching practice where future teachers acquire their leadership skills. They acquire them in any supportive work, in their family activities, in talking to kids, in helping people around someone who needs. Well, and if as a teacher, as a professional, as a professor, you should take into account the success of your students in social life. And if they do something that can make benefit, that can make a difference, you should take it into account and to observe it. And then you can see that your students, they are in the right way. They are ready to be good teachers. And here I would like to give you some stages of comprehensive leadership training in higher education. Well, this is last slide, but I think one of the most rewarding one. It's a plan how to act with your students. If you have freshmen, it's good to start with first year students and to find out future leaders. Sometimes you will trip, but sometimes you will see that some students, they are really bright, they are ready for collaboration. And these students, they standing out. Sometimes they showy, sometimes they're bright, sometimes they are sounded. And these students is first group. It's easy to distinguish them among student communities. But it's not the end, because the rest of students, they have leadership skills hidden inside of them, and you should observe really confidently. You should observe thoroughly in academic activities, in scientific and social activities of the rest of students. And even you should have kind of interview with them or questionnaires in order to see that they have a slightly, maybe not slightly, perspectives for leadership. And I think that students sometimes, even they're young, they don't know that they have a potential to be a good leader, a teacher, as a teacher. And second step is follow-up work at developing leadership qualities in organizing some kind of activity. Well, maybe you can start from first year, maybe from second year of study, but the idea is that you give them tasks to prepare organizational work. Maybe it's going to be students competition, maybe another contest or excursion or project or whatever, a concert. But you can give them kind of work they should organize themselves and feel that they're leaders. And the more work you give them, the more leadership skills you will see in them in future too. And the last point, it's a delegation of authority implemented in extracurricular work, in participation in various activities. Probably it's the idea for further development as kind of work with graduates. And you should give some kind of your daily routine to your students. Maybe it's going to be some I don't know, well, work with freshmen or something, but something that is really part of professor duties that they can take and be responsible for. And it can help them to see the whole responsibility, to feel how difficult it is to be a professional. And after all the steps, you can add some else, because it's up to you. You can create your own activities for your students in order to develop their leadership skills. But after all the steps, they can go to school practice and to be ready to collaboration, to break in the wall of ignorance, to break in all maybe not working methods, and to be ready to be leaders of their lives and to be leaders for their school communities and for their students.